Come here, Heidi. Come here. Oh. Hey there, I'm making a video today about Asian jumping worms, and I'm going to make this as quick as possible, but I think it's very important because I did not have them last year and I had them this year, and they're quite the concern to the way I garden. So I'm going to introduce you to Heidi. Come here. Come here. This is Heidi. She's a little food hog, but anyhow, let's get to work. Come on. Oh. Oh shoot, I forgot. So, this here is my leaf mold pile. I started last year with double shredded leaves. I double shredded the leaves out in the yard that I brought in, and it broke down very well, the leaf mold. I'm looking for an Asian jumping worm here, but I'm not finding one yet. It's alright. But this leaf mold turned out very good. Last year I had good results as well, but I didn't have the volume that I needed. And this year I do. And this year I also have the Asian jumping worm. So it really presents a problem. We're using, the main thing I use the leaf mold for is, seed starter. I did both peat and leaf mold last year, and the leaf mold plants did a lot better than the peat, and I don't like buying peat anyhow. But I just want to show you the finished leaf mold right here. This is the finished leaf mold. It's very, it's almost indiscernible as far as finding identifiable leaves in it. It's totally broken down. I'm going to show you here. You can make a leaf mold ball, you could have leaf mold ball fights. Packs like a heavy wet snow. This is why this material is so good, is because it just retains moisture so well. And I really wanted to use this for starting seeds at a bigger level, but with the Asian jumping worms, there were none in those two scoops, but I have some here from yesterday. These are Asian jumping worms here. They're kind of a pukey gray color. Can't really see it too good. But what is important is that the sex organs here, the band on on all other worms is a red, and here it's pale. It's a pale clitellum, I think they call it, something like that. But these are the Asian jumping worms. Now the bad thing is you could physically remove the adults, but come to find out that their cocoons, they overwinter. The adults die in the winter, but the cocoons will survive our freeze here in Wisconsin. So if you're anywhere that you get that, even Minnesota has them, Wisconsin, I would encourage you to look and see if they're in your area, because if they are, they could very easily be spread. Like I use this for, like I said, seed start. Now, I give away a lot of plants, I sell some plants, And if I was to just use this like this right now, which I could, and give those plants away next year, I'll be spreading these things like crazy. I guess the Asian jumping worms can have 60 cocoons in a year. It takes them 60 days to mature, I guess. And I have not found out how many worms are in a cocoon. Red wigglers usually have 3, 4. I don't know how many actual worms emerge from the cocoons at this point. But I'm gonna go dig through here and see if I can find one quick. Okay, I just found one. It got down to the 40s last night, so they went a little deeper. But this is an Asian jumping worm right here. And like I say, they're paler. If it was warmer, they'd be a lot more active. The reproductive band is, it's not as discernible here, but it is paler, and usually that's the brightest red part of a worm. But that is an Asian jumping worm right there. So, having said that, now I'm going to show you what they do to your soil. Bear with me. I'm gonna try to make this as with less movement as possible. There. I hate jerky videos. But yeah, now see, another thing I'm going to have to do this year is I'm going to have to redo my leaf mold bin. I'm going to have to make it so I don't get more of these Asian worms next year. And I haven't quite decided exactly how I'm going to do that, but I'll figure it out. Now I'm going to walk over here. These are my sweet potatoes. We haven't had a frost yet, but hopefully there's a lot of sweet potatoes in the ground. But this is where I initially found the jumping worms. It was in this bed here. This bed is onions and leeks. And when I pulled my onions, that's when I started finding them. Now I'm going to try to do this without moving the camera. So I'm going to just scoop down in here a little bit and see, here's one right there. There's a Asian jumping worm right there. And I'm not going to let him survive. If it was warmer, these things are a lot more active. But you can see the light band to the sex organs of the worm right there. And he goes in that bucket. Now I'm moving the camera like goofy, but sorry about that. Now I want to show you how they change your soil. This was another bed I had onions in. Now I got some beets going. You see the grainy texture to the soil? That is not normal at all. This is what they do to it. This should be very fine soil in here, but it's not. It's granular. And as I go down, it's still granular. You see the granular aspect to this soil? What these little darlings do is it destroys the soil structure. See, here's another one, see? You see how active they are? And there's that pale band around the head of the worm. Here's something else they do. That tail's going to break right off. It's a defense mechanism. See? And like I say, each one of these worms are hermaphroditic. They have both sex organs, but they need 2 to do it. But anyhow, 60 cocoons a year. Their tails just snap right off. I barely did anything to that. And these are not going to live, so I'm just going to do this to them. I don't want them to survive. But yeah, this is what they'll turn your soil into. This granular material. And it's taking all the glue that holds your soil together away. And in a forest, this is devastating. Because the way I grow my onions too, I basically just plant my onions in the dirt. And see, the further down I get, the better my soil's looking, see? This is not that granular material. But what I do is I plant my onions in this good stuff, and then I cover it with shredded leaves. And that is what the Asian jumping worms are looking for. Alright, so I'll show you my first experiment with how I'm treating this. Out here I have a tarp on top of a tarp. And what I'm attempting to do is cook the cocoons. So this has been out in the sun now for about an hour. Bear with me, I'm sorry I'm moving the camera like crazy. And I laid a compost thermometer in here, and I'm only at 60 degrees. 60 degrees. It's not going to work. The cocoons will not survive 100-degree temperature. And I'm not sure how long they have to be at that 100-degree mark. But if this method does not work, I don't know what I'm going to do. Besides, coming over here, I have a pretty good size pellet smoker. This Rectech. What I'll probably end up doing is just putting some big baking pans in here and cooking it, because I do not want to spread those Asian jumping worms. Fortunately, this thing has a huge bin, and but yeah, these Asian jumping worms are and when I pull my potatoes here, I found dozens of them. Literally dozens of them. And I noticed right away the granular makeup of the soil. It wasn't that nice, lush, fluffy soil I normally encounter when I pull my potatoes and onions. So, just a word to the wise. If you do have these Asian jumping worms and you make leaf mold and even lazy compost, you're gonna be spreading these things if you just don't take care of it. Fortunately, I did not find them in my hot compost. I have 4 25-gallon bags of sifted hot compost that was sitting for a couple months. I will check it under the microscope to see if I can find any the cocoons. They're pretty easy to pick up under the microscope at 100 magnification. They pop right up. I found them in the leaf mold already under the microscope. But I'll take samples of the compost. But yeah, I'm going to have to put up a barrier to keep these Asian jumping worms out of this bin. And with everything else you have to do in the fall with your garden, it is one more thing that you really don't want to mess with, but hopefully I won't have to mess with them next year. So alrighty, well that's all this was about. And Heidi, say bye-bye. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope you get some good information from this. I'm going to probably grow some of these this winter and get a little bit more knowledgeable of their habitat, and of their habits, and maybe even some control methods. But anyway, that's about it, and I'll have future videos on these guys, I'm sure. Thank you very much.